My dear students of second year, I am Raghavendra Pratap and I am here with a fresh startup of fourth unit, which is with title Technical Communication Skills. In this video, we will discuss some of its contents. So please go through this and leave your comments in the comment section to show your presence. One thing too is very much important for me to discuss here with every one of you, that this is the first time when three consecutive generations are the witness of first ever lockdown, and you are one of them. This can give you an idea of disaster not only in India but around the globe. So please help the warriors while securing a safe stay at homes. To meet soon. Please give value to my words and your thoughts as well. So let's start. The name of the fourth unit, as I said, technical communication skills. So the skills which are really essential for technical communication are given in this unit. One by one we will go through all the contents. So the first content which comes as job interviews, and if I'm not wrong, no one is unaware of this easiest word. Yes, this is the easiest word which everyone knows very much better, but we will understand this interview, this word, this term with some different definitions given under this title. One by one we will understand these all. The first one, an interview is usually a formal meeting to get interacted with each other to find required skills and understanding. So simple this is. Job interview is usually a formal meeting to get interacted with each other to find required skills and understanding. With another words, an interview is an opportunity to share one's skills with buyer. This too is a kind of definition. In some other words, an interview is a place where participants exchange their views. This too is very much true to define job interview. An interview is one's process of evaluation in the eyes of other. This too is very much suitable to define job interview. Some more definitions are: an interview is a rejection process of finding the most valuable and efficient person of charge. And last two definitions are given by very much renowned people in business world and corporate world as Mr. L. Brown and Mr. Myers. The definition which is given by Mr. L. Brown is: an employment interview is a formal meeting during which both employer and applicant ask questions and exchange information with one another. And as per Mr. Myers, an interview is a highly specialized form of communication to achieve some special purposes. With the help of these all definitions, we understood what interviews are. The thing which is important among these all definitions is: interview is a communication process which adopts a formal attitude, and it's a way where some of the people, I didn't say two only, because it may possible interview has more than two persons. So the last thing, it's a way where people interact with one another in this process. So this is all about job interview. Let's move ahead to understand some other contents. The purposes of interview. Actually, there are two basic purposes. There are two basic purposes of job interview. The first one is, and very much simple, both the purposes are. The first one is to find out the best person available for the job. The first purpose of job interview is to find the best suitable person for the organization or for a job. And the second one is to fulfill the applicant's objective, which suits to fulfill his goal. Means one purpose is for the organization and one purpose is for the applicant who is going to be a part of that interview. The next title, which comes as sequence of interview. So to understand the sequence of interview, there are three different stages. And these three different stages are as screening stage, where candidates are screened in or out. The second stage is selection stage, and this is a stage in which a process of choosing the right candidate from many comes as an action to perform. And the last one is final stage, where candidate is evaluated by very much higher official. These three stages are considered the sequence of interview are considered as sequence of interview. One by one we will understand a bit deeply, because here I just gave a understanding, simplest understanding. So a bit more deeply to understand first stage as screening stage. At this stage of interview, the employer is to screen out the unqualified and undeserving candidate. This is a stage where out of many, those are screened out who are unqualified and undeserving candidate for that job. Second stage is selection stage. At this stage of interview, the applicant is asked to interact with several people. Some of them from human resource department, some are potential colleague, some of them are supervisor, and some subject matter expert. Means at selection stage, some people are gathered from different areas and expertise to evaluate every single aspect of the applicant or every single aspect of the interviewee. Here at this stage of selection, interviewer wants to know applicant's interest in job, his ability, his organizational capacity, his nature of acceptance, and behavior with the situation and people around him. At the selection stage, it is very much important for the interviewer, for the employer to know these many things of an applicant, in which interest in job is very much important to know about the applicants, to know about the abilities of applicant, to know about the organizational capacity of the applicant, his nature of acceptance, his behavior with the situation and people around him. So all these things are the part of selection stage. And the third one is final stage. At this stage, candidate has to face some higher ranking officer who focuses on candidates' overall personality, which reflects their value and sustainability with the organization. In simple words, final stage is that stage where sustainability of a candidate is judged by the very much higher official. This is the final stage. Let's move ahead to know the different types of interview. Is there only one, two? How many different types can be arranged for or to call as interview? So we'll find some different types of interview here under this section. First one is structured interview. Structured interview, with its name, this is very much clear. An interview which has a particular structure to perform the action. So a structured interview is generally used at screening stage. This is an interview which is used at screening stage, and here interviewer asks a series of prepared questions in a set order. Some series of questions are asked by the interviewer in a set order where all their answers are noted down already. The basic purpose of structured interview is to screen out a huge number of candidates from the crowd. The basic purpose is to get the gathering suitable to find the righteous candidate for the job. The right candidate for the job. Second type of interview is open-ended interview. Open-ended interviews are generally used in selection stage. This type of interviews are used at the selection stage, and here interviewer puts some open-ended questions and wants applicant to answer them freely. Means what open-ended questions means where there isn't any restriction or fixed limit to answer. It allows the candidate to give the response very much spontaneously. So those are open-ended question. And here candidate is judged, means in open-ended interview candidate is judged on his interest in job, his ability, his organizational capacity, his nature of acceptance, and behavior with the situation and people around him. Next one is stress interview. Stress interview. In a stress interview, interviewee's capacity to handle the stressful situation with respect to the mental stage. It means with its name it is very much clear when and where a stress is given to the candidate to face difficult and different and unexpected situations or problems. So that is stress interview. Next one is group interview. Group interview is a interview where a group of candidates is interviewed. Again I am saying a group of candidates is interviewed. That is group interview. Nowadays group interviews have also been practiced but not very much frequently. Yes, this is a type of interview. This is a process where the applicants are too much in numbers, so they adopt the process of group interview. Next one is panel interview. A panel interview is where interviewers are arranged from the different expertise areas to interview the candidate. In simple words, a panel of interviewers having different expertise areas are arranged to interview the candidate. That is panel interview. In this, you cannot expect only one interviewer. There are more than one interviewer who are from different areas of expertise. The next one is situational or behavioral interview. What situational or behavioral interview is? To check the reaction and behavior of a candidate on some unexpected situation or problem, where interview is focused on to check the reaction or the behavior of the candidate where some unexpected situations are given, unexpected problems are given to him. That is situational or behavioral interview. The next one is very much simple with its name. Next two, both of these are very much simple with its name. Video conferencing interview and teleconferencing interview. So video conferencing interviews are where a candidate is interviewed on video conferencing to manage time and distance, and teleconferencing interviews where candidate is interviewed on phone. Generally, it is used for screening stage. So these are few types of job interviews. Next topic, what employer wants basically. So employer wants to judge the right person who has the righteous trait for the job which are important for an organization. The basic purpose of every employer is to find the person with righteous trait which are beneficiable, which are benefitable for the organization. So for that, employers seek emotional means to achieve the righteous trait in a candidate. Employers seek emotional intelligence and emotional quotient. Please have your sight on these two words, emotional intelligence or emotional quotient, more in a candidate as it makes them efficient to face all the challenges required to be fit in a working environment. The thing which I said is all about something. Emotional quotient and emotional intelligence is really more important to have, to be with in a candidate instead of just with the intelligence. Why? Because people with high EQ and EI means high emotional intelligence and high emotional quotient generally possess self awareness, good impulse control, persistence, confidence, self motivation, and empathy, as well as ability to pursue it with more and more coordination with situations and people. The thing, the values, the qualities which are said are given on this slide in Hindi language for a better comprehension. The qualities, the thing which EQ, people with high EQ possess: self awareness means Atma Jagrukta in Hindi, good impulse control means Aksha Acha, Aveg Niyantran, persistence means determination means Ran Nishchay, confidence, Atmavishwas, self motivation, Swaprerana, and empathy as well as ability to pursue it means सहानुभूति के साथ साथ राजी करने की क्षमता. These are the qualities which are possessed by a person who has high in emotional quotient or high emotional intelligence. We are moving ahead to the next slide. Candidates preparation for an interview. There are some stages, there are some points which are essentially for an interviewer, to prepare in advance for an interview. So these are basically six steps. Six steps to prepare for an interview. The first one is learn about the organization. De Leon is a very much a renowned name in the business world and corporate world. He says the best way, please look at the cursor where I'm moving it. The best way to prepare a job interview is to think about a job and prepare. Interviewees should learn about the organization, its product or services, and its latest business activity. As a first step, when interviewee is preparing for an interview, it is must for him to know about that organization in which he is going to attend that interview. The second point, think about the questions. Interviewee should prepare some questions which are very much important in advance before being a part of an interview. So here, candidates should prepare few very tough questions which are expected to be asked by the interviewer. Following are 16 toughest questions which should be prepared prior to be in an interview. So I'll read these all 16 questions and it is guided to every one of you. Please have some minutes for yourself and answer these all questions to yourself. These questions are as: what was the toughest decision you ever had to make? Why do you want to work with this organization? The second one. Why should we employ you? If we hire you, what changes would you make? Are we offering you a career path which you expected? What are your greatest strengths? What are your greatest weaknesses? What did you not like about the previous job you worked for? How did you spend your leisure time? Are there any weaknesses in your education or experience? What do you want to be in next 5 years from now? What are your salary expectation? This is a very much important question. What are your salary expectation? What would you do if your computer breaks down, which holds all the essential information of your very much valuable project? What type of positions are you interested in? Tell us something about yourself. And the last one, do you have any question about the organization or the job? So these are 16 questions which an interviewee should prepare in advance before being a part of any interview. The third, before the third point, few I think is very much important. That is, what are the strategies to prepare questions? There are basically two strategies to prepare questions. The first one is planning for the employer's question and planning for the questions of one's own. There are only two strategies. So, as for the first strategies, as planning for the employer's question, interviewees should focus on the questions which are specifically for the organizational need, his skills, his achievements, his goals, his strengths and weaknesses, and something which tell all about you. This is under the section of planning for employer's question. And with the second strategies, planning questions of one's own, interviewer should ask few questions to himself or herself before being a part of an interview, which are, can I work with this organization? This question must be asked by the interviewer to himself or herself. Is the work compatible with my goals and values? Will I enjoy working here? Or what kind of person would I be after working here? So these questions must be asked. So these are two strategies to prepare the questions. We are moving ahead to the third point, which is very much essential for the interviewee to prepare in advance. That is, look at the cursor where I'm moving it, bolster confidence. And there isn't any doubt to accept the importance of confidence. If the confidence is high, you can face any interview, any type of interview very much effectively to prove, to show your quality, your skills to the employer, to the interviewer. So, bolster confidence. The most important thing for the interviewee is to build one's confidence, because confidence makes him or her at more ease, with more calmness and collected with thoughts at the same time. So, confidence helps a lot to face an interview very much effectively. The fourth point, polish interview style. And look at this where I'm moving my cursor. Style. Style is all about something which we adopt as a process of doing something. So, interview demands more and more polish to the interviewee's personality to leave effect on. So, interviewees should focus equally on non-verbal traits. It is very much important if you have command over your communication skills. It too is must to have focus on non-verbal traits which are important to comprehend better the words which you use in your conversation, in your interaction. And the fifth one is physical appearance. And we cannot ignore the importance of physical appearance as well. Physical appearance is all about something where you present physically. So what we see first, that goes last. We know this is very much true. What we see first, that goes last, is the righteous example to show importance to the physical appearance. For that, to achieve, to show, to leave a very much better physical appearance in an interview, interviewee should dress formally or conventionally, be well groomed with what you show and appear, and the last thing, be relaxed. So these few things are very much important to leave, to express the righteous physical appearance to the interviewer. And the last one is be prepared for interview. Under this section, it is very much needed for every interviewee to practice your interview as much as possible. Take proofs of your accomplishment. Reach the place of an interview on time. And the last one is wait gracefully for your turn. These few things are very much important to be prepared for an interview. So ultimately we discussed 6 basic points which can help an interviewer to prepare interviewee which helps an interview to prepare for an interview very much in advance with the perfection. We are moving ahead to the next topic, that is three major steps in employment interview. It is considered to be three basic steps for an employment interview or for a job interview. These three steps are the warm up, the first one, the question and answer session, the second one, and the close, the last one. So we'll understand a bit about these all three basic steps of job interviews. The most strengthening part of an interviewee is to push oneself and do believe on one's decision to be a part of the process. This is called warm up. If you are prepared, you should believe on the decision which you took to be a part of an interview. This is warm up. You are believing on your decision to be a part of a process. That process is called interview. The second one, the question and answer. A major step to decide everything, as this is the only way to interact with each other. Here it is a way to interact with one another, where one candidate means interviewer asking some questions to know something more about you, and you have to answer in such a way to satisfy the interviewer. And the last one is the close. Close is the part of an interview not only where both the parties are done with their decisions almost, but also find themselves about how did they perform. It is quite obvious, we all do know how did we perform in an interview. Even interviewer knows and interviewee too knows this. So acceptance and realization is too much important to successfully close an interview. So these three steps are considered to be very much important or major in a job interview. There is a checklist to proceed in a job interview. This checklist helps to adopt the basic structure of an interview or basic process of an interview. So we'll understand these checklists one by one and the points which are under every steps, every level. So the first is preparation. Under the level of preparation, few things comes as determine the requirement and general salary of your job, because it will help you out to be very much relevant and prepared. So determine the requirement and general salary. What this is actually, with the help of an example I can explain. Determine the requirement. Suppose for an interview a requirement is for an engineer and you are a diploma holder. So will you be able to satisfy the interviewer or that process where they clearly mention only those who are graduate in in technology are allowed to be a part of this interview? No. So determine the requirement. It is very much important, and the salary on which you can work on. The second point, research the organization, product, structure, financial standing, and prospects for growth. These few things are very much important for every interviewee to decide in prior. Research the organization's product, structure, financial standing, and prospects for growth. The third point, determine the interviewer's name, title, and status in the firm. But this is only when possible. Only when possible, determine the name of the interviewer, its title, and status. The fourth point, prepare the interview in advance. As I said already, as many times as you can. The fifth one, develop relevant questions to be asked. You are supposed to prepare all those questions which can be asked, which you can imagine to be asked yourself. You have to be very much ready with the answers. The sixth point, dress in business-like manner. You should be very much formal, which I already said on the previous slide. Regardless of the mode of dress preferred within the organization, you are supposed to be very much formal. even when they're allowing you to be in any format of dress, any kind of attire. Seventh point, take a document file or portfolio with a pen, resume, and things which are mentioned in the letter. It is very much important. The things which are mentioned in the letter, you are supposed to be with those all documents, be with those all requirement. You cannot say I forgot, because that was mentioned by the people, respective people in the letter. The eighth point is double check the location and time of the interview and map out the route beforehand. It is very much important. You must be well prepared to the location of the interview and about the time as well. The ninth one is plan to arrive 10 to 15 minutes early, which can be utilized in the unexpected situation on the way. It is suggested for everyone to reach your location of interview prior to 10 to 15 minutes, because you do not know what kind of situations you are going to face on the road or on the way. These all points were under preparation level. Next one is initial stage of interview. The initial stage of interview is all about something, few points which are very much important to discuss. One by one we will go through all these. The first one is greet the interviewer by name and title with a smile and direct eye contact. The eye contact is very much important when you are wishing to the interviewer. And with the title, if you know, and if you don't know, you are supposed to use title as Mr. The second one is offer a firm handshake. Offer a firm handshake if the interviewer offers you a hand. Means that must be very much firm handshake if interviewer is offering you his hand to. The third point, take a seat only after the interviewer invites you to be seated or has taken his or her own seat. The fourth one, listen for cues about what the question are trying to reveal about you and what you mention. Every question is asked to know more and more about you. So what you are answering depends how you are revealing about yourself. And the last one is under initial stage of interview, take a calm and posed attitude, which is very much important. You should be very much calm and posed interview, which can attract the interviewer, which can reflect better confidence. The third step or the third level, that is body of the interview. So under the body of the interview, there are a few points which are very much important to know and prior. That is, display a genuine smile when appreciated. If you are appreciated for the answer which you gave, you must reflect, you must show, you must display that genuine smile. The second point, convey interest and enthusiasm. Interest and enthusiasm are really very much important to show to the interviewer. Listen attentively so that you can give intelligent responses. Listening is the first process, because if you will not listen properly, you won't be able to answer intelligently. Next one is the fourth point, relate your knowledge and skills to the position and give stress to your positive qualities. The knowledge and skills which are required to hire a candidate in an interview, you are supposed to form your answers in such a way which can reflect your positive qualities with respect to the requirement. And the fifth one is keep responses brief, clear, and to the point. You must be very much to the point with the answers, with the clarity of sentences which you are forming, and the responses that must be very much straight. And the sixth point, avoid exaggeration and convey honesty and sincerity. Exaggeration is all about hyperbole. Just be honest with the responses. Do not make a bluff there. You cannot do that with the interviewer. They know how to judge a person, how to evaluate, how to understand who is lying, who is saying absolutely correct, because they have multiple years of experience. So in that case, be honest and sincere. The seventh point is avoid slighting reference to your former employer. In any case, please do not show disrespect towards your past employer, because it will leave a bad impression on the interviewer. The eighth and the last point is avoid consuming anything which fragrances a lot to distract the interviewer. You are not supposed to have anything which can reflect too much fragrance, which which is too much with fragrance. It can distract the interviewer. So these are the 8 points under the section of body of the interview. The D part means the next level is salary discussion. Now under this section, few things are very much important. Some of you must be thinking, if we want to be a part of an interview, salary must be discussed to us, salary must be disclosed to us. Yes, it is okay. It is okay. I said this at my initial stages as well. It is good to know about the salary, but you are not supposed to reflect that feeling in front of the interviewer that you are there because of the salary only. Okay, so the things which are very much important to notice: let the interviewer initiate the discussion of the salary, not from your side, but put it off until late in the interview if possible. And the last one is, if asked, state that you would like to receive the standard salary for the position. In simple way, the every designation, every position has a fixed basic salary which every employer offers. Every employer offers. So do not worry about, if you are a suitable candidate, you will be offered with a decided salary. Till the time you are not very much needed by the employer, by the organization, you cannot negotiate on that. Okay, so these 2 points were under the salary discussion. And the next level of checkpoint for the better preparation of interview is closing stage of an interview. Closing stage means where you are going to close, you are going to understand this is the end of our interview process. So few things two are very much important to notice. The first one is, watch the sign that the interviewer is about to end. It is very much simple for every one of us to know that we have reached to the end of the interview process. The second one, tactfully ask when you will be advised of the decision of your application. Means, if it is possible, please use your tact, use your guts to ask when you will be informed about the decision. The third point, if you are offered the job, either accept or ask for the time to consider that offer. Means you should know when you are offered a job how much time you have in your hands to accept and to reject. And the last one is, with a warm smile and handshake, thanks the interviewer for the meeting. This is the last thing, you must show your thanks to the interviewer. So these were few points, few levels which are very much important for a job interview to have, to know in advance, to prepare in advance. So the next point is interviewers preparation. Yes, as we understood the level of preparation, we understand the level of preparation for interviewee. Exactly in the same way, it is important for an interviewer to prepare an interview perfectly. So there are some guidelines which are given for the preparation of interviewer. The first point is guidelines for the conducting an interview for an interviewer. The first point, a good interview depends on planning. It must be planned with two-way communication process. The second point, interviewer must have proper job description. It is very much important. If you are going to be a part of an interview and you are an interviewer, you should know the job description very much in advance. You should means he should, the interviewer should know the title of the post, duties, responsibilities, working conditions, stress conditions, and economic conditions. These all things must be known by the interviewer before being a part of that. The next point, it is must to have a look to job application or resume to categorize candidate with respect to their education and experience. If it is possible, if you have the details, if you have the list, if you have the list of applicants, all the applicants, you must have a look on that so that you can decide a sequence of the candidates as per the education and their experience. The next point, preparation of the question which he's supposed to ask with the candidate. As I guided you, as I instructed every interviewee to prepare some question in advance, exactly in the same way, interviewer too is suggested to prepare those questions which can help him or her to select a better candidate. And the last one is, he should know how to frame the questions with the maximum understanding and have patience to listen the answer. Questions must be formed in such a structure which are comprehended to all the levels of candidate, all the standards of candidate. Because if a candidate is not able to comprehend that question, he won't be able to answer properly to that. Okay, so these were few points. Two last points under the same section. Interviewer is supposed to ask only relevant questions which are asked to know about the candidate more. So the questions which interviewer is asking must be relevant with the position, with the situation, with the job. And the last one, the venue must be decided prior with proper arrangements which make interviewer and interviewee comfortable. The venue must be decided prior, and it must be notified to the interviewer. He should know where the interview is arranged and what kind of arrangements are done for the comfortability of the interviewer and for the interviewee as well. The next step which is important to decide prior an interview for the interviewer is steps in planning an interview. A very much renowned name, Mr. Brown, very much renowned name in business and corporate world, Mr. Brown suggests 5 steps to conduct interview in his book Communication Facts and Ideas in Business Properly. So Mr. Brown suggested 5 steps to conduct an interview perfectly in his book Communication Facts and Ideas in Business. So these 5 steps are: the first one for the interview, to keep objective in mind. Interviewer must have the objective of the interview. To plan and fulfill the need of the employer is the second one, means the planning, the fulfillment of the needs of the employer. Ultimately, the interview is arranged for the ultimately, the interview is arranged for the employer. Employer is in need of the candidate. That's why the interview process is arranged, and you means as a person, as an interviewer, you are appointed there. So you must plan that to complete the requirement of the employer. The third point, to bring important information in use to achieve objectives. As you are shared with the information, you are supposed to use that information to achieve the objective of an interview. The fourth one, to develop lead questions and key questions in the sequential way. The questions which are important to inquire, important to know more about the candidate, must be prepared by you. And the last one, as a step in planning, to explore the possible alternatives. To explore the possible alternatives and solution if it is possible. So it is the fifth point as a step in planning an interview. We are moving ahead to the third point, which is interview process. So under this section, this includes the most crucial stage of question and answer session. This is the biggest. This is the stage. This is the stage where maximum time is utilized. Maximum time is. This is the maximum time taken process. I should say this maximum time taking process. So following are some sample questions with different purposes. The questions which I will read for every one of you, which are inscribed for every one of you with the different purposes. Please prepare these all questions for yourself in advance as a benchmark, as a success for a process of an interview. So first one, with the purpose of academic career. So questions related to academic career are: what made you to do this course? What you liked most in your pursuing course? Which textbook did you study and like the most? And the last one under the academic career as questions: do you think that your pursuing course made you skilled to fulfill the requirement of an employer? These are the questions which comes under the category of academic career. The second the second just one second. Okay. uh, the second way means the to achieve the second other purposes, the questions which achieve the different purposes, that is co-curricular activities. So did you participate in any co-curricular activities during the course of your study? What those co-curricular activities contributed to your personality? Which co-curricular activities did you like the most? Are the questions which comes under co-curricular activities as a as a as a as a area. Okay. So the third point, questions related to career objective. How would you describe your ideal job? What are your career objectives? Do you think that the present job will help you to achieve your career objective? Can you share your short-term and long-term goals, and what are your plans to achieve these goals? So these all are the questions which are under the section of career objective. And the next one is questions related to work experience. These questions are applied only for those who have some work experience in prior. So do you have any actual work experience? Why do you want to leave your present job? Describe the nature of your duties you performed. If you have any present sorry if you have any patent or innovation to your credit, to your name it and tell us its process of achievement. And the last one is: were you satisfied with the place of success at your previous workplace? So these all are the questions of work experience. Some questions which are related to personal traits and achievements. One by one we'll go through these all. The first one is: why should we hire you? Are you a team player? If you, prove. Do you have the leadership skills or leadership quality in you? If yes, prove. Do you handle pressure well? If yes, prove with the situations or examples of your past. What are your greatest strengths? What are your greatest weaknesses, and what motivates you the most? These are few questions which are for the accomplishment or which are for the personal traits. And the last one, which is the sixth one, the question related to miscellaneous areas. Miscellaneous areas means miscellaneous questions which are from all the areas commonly. So why are you interested in the particular job? How much salary do you expect? What are your social obligations? Tell us frankly if ever you have an serious health problem or some major injury. Will you like to work in the field than the office? If we send you to some remote area of the country, will you agree to do or agree to go there? Do you have any plans? Do you have any future plans for higher education? These all are the questions with miscellaneous areas. So ultimately we went through with all the questions with respect to the different areas to achieve different purposes, like questions related to academic purposes, questions related to co-curricular activities, questions related to career objective, questions related to work experience, questions related to achievements and personal traits, and questions related to miscellaneous areas. So these all are related to job interview. We covered almost all the aspects with respect to the interviewee and with respect to the interviewer as well. So please go through this video and leave your comments respectively to make me aware who all have gone through this. Okay, in my next video we'll start with group discussion. So at last, bye bye and take care.